Good evening, everyone. My name is Clarence White. I'm the Associate Director here at the Eastside Freedom Library. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday evening. I want to do a few housekeeping pieces before I introduce Brian. So thanks for coming to this event for Dr. Kou Yang, and I want to make sure that everyone knows, first of all, the restrooms are downstairs, so there's an elevator over there and stairs that way, and if you need to use the restroom at any time, take care of yourself and do that. There's a drinking fountain down there as well. This event is being live streamed, so if you have a friend who could not make it tonight, you can text them now and tell them to go to our Facebook page, and they can join us that way. The last big thing I want to mention, I think some of you signed the guest book when you came in. If you didn't get a chance to sign in, we'd love it if you would do that for us. We'd appreciate it a lot. The housekeeping taken care of, I'm going to ask Brian Zhang to come up and do the further introductions. So thanks for being here.
Nuj Yob. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Eastside Freedom Library at the Hmong Archives. We were so happy that Dr. Kou traveled all the way from California to join us today, and as well as our illustrator Yinkong Vue, who also here to join us to do today's reading. But before we move further, I would like to introduce the Hmong Archives board to come up here and to talk a little bit about the Hmong Archives and some of the Hmong Archive collections, because today we have Hmong author and illustrator to do the reading. But it would be an honor to also introduce the Hmong Archives so everyone get to know what we do here at the Eastside Freedom Library.
Good evening, my name is Marlon Heiss. I have been the volunteer archivist since 1999 when Yupeng Xiong got us together in 98 actually, and then we became an organization in February of 1999. In those 20 years, we have collected some 206,000 items, from little business cards up to a T-28 plane with about a 7-foot wingspan that we would like sometime or another to be out on display, but we don't have many places to put things. We have been here now just over 3 years at the Eastside Freedom Library. Our book collection, maps, files are up here, cards are over there. There's an information sheet that would tell about the things that we have collected. And the one thing that we always do for a plug is, if you have old Hmong VHS videos at your house, garage, closets, that you no longer watch, we would like them. We have recently been out in Centerville, Minnesota, and after our July performance on WCCO TV, we had contact with a Mr. Thomas, who had purchased a piece of land that had 150 boxes of Hmong VHS videos. So we have now some 1,300 titles typed up, and those we will be combining with those that we already do have. Is there much else to be said other than to say this is Mr. Chu Chang? I would like people to please sign in our guest book also, our guest register. So I'll pass that one around and then I'll step over to the side.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chu Chang. I'm a board member with the Archives. Archives has been one of the organizations that I found that's interesting because they keep our culture alive and make sure that we continue to learn and also just remember about our past. So I think being here is really interesting, and if anybody would like to be in touch with us and learn more about the archives, please feel free to reach out to Marley or myself, and we would love to make sure that archives stay alive, and it's some organization that the community can contribute and also just focus on, and we can also go out there and help out, bring back whatever we can find. I think Marley is, it's interesting in a lot of art all the material that we collected. So I don't have much to say, but thank you for coming and thank you for continuing to support the archive and the Freedom Library here.
Yes, we are happy to see you here tonight with Dr. Kou and artist Yinkong, and so the evening proceeds. Thank you again. What's on up?
Well, thank you, Molly and Jude. Mong archive giờ lúc khởi biết tổng thống quốc tế quốc tế nữa thì nhớ thì nó này còn lại tổng đạo nhất thì nó do mong tên tổng đạo là số cho mong muốn nên nữa thì ở trên cái bộ không nói nó xã hội là mấy cho đốn muốn nó xã hội thế thì giờ này sao một sai là một bỏ những cái bỏ mong cho đó là tên đó nhớ học từ tên đấy. Look, her publisher, Hmong educational resource publishers, and pay publish book, right? So I'm going to speak more in English mixed together. So her publisher published a lot of books to help Hmong artists, authors, students, teachers to get the voice in the book out there. Dr. Kou Yang is one of the Hmong scholars, and I met Dr. Kou Yang when I was a college student back in the HND conferences in the early 2000s. And I was in one of his workshops, and I'm just amazed by the work that the research that he done for the Hmong community, his presentations, and the talk about the changing of the Hmong community. And I met Dr. Kou, just briefly during the conference, but I did not realize that until today that Dr. Kou Yang and I become very close friends, and we publish his books. And he's just amazing scholars out there, one of the few Hmong scholars who talk everything about Hmong. And remember, I met him. We talk about some of the Hmong scholar declines, maybe not Hmong scholar, but turn about Hmong being free. And Dr. Kou and I will talk briefly about Hmong being free, what's behind that. And I learned so much that, well, sometimes it might not mean free, maybe it just means people. And Dr. Kou could talk a little bit more about that if we have the time to share. But Dr. Kou Yang is a Fulbright scholar and the author of Sayaboury, Land of a Million Elephants, The Making of Hmong America, Nuj Yob, the Hmong Jungle Book, and many books. So we also have his book in the back of the table. Dr. Kou will give his speech, or his talk about the Hmong Jungle Book, and also do introduction about his life and why he's interested to write about Hmong story, keep Hmong story alive. If you purchase this book tonight, he will sign for you as a special note, as a message for you as the buyer. And then we also, in honor for the Hmong Archives, the Eastside Freedom Library, and her publisher, to have the illustrator, Yinkong Vue, who is a visual developer and animator. His current work consists of colorful illustrations that focus on character and world building and making 2D animation with dynamic movement. Yinkong is a good friend of mine as well, and he was a graduate student from the Minneapolis Art Institute. Very, very talented. So we met with Yinkong. He always loved Hmong culture, Hmong history, Hmong art. And we approached Yinkong, hey, as a good friend, would you like to illustrate for the Kou's book, the Hmong Jungle Book, the first Hmong Jungle Book ever? And Yinkong reviewed through the book, and he said yes, he would be happy to contribute to Dr. Kou's book. Even though her publisher is a small publishing company, we don't have a lot of money, but we all have the passions to teach Hmong students to keep those stories alive. And Yinkong is one of those artists who has the passion to do things for the Hmong community. So on behalf of the Hmong community and her publisher, Yinkong, thank you so much for illustrating for the Hmong Jungle Book for Dr. Kou. So we really appreciate it. Yinkong will be here today as well. And if any of you who are students, teachers, or future writers, you want to get illustration by Yinkong, please feel free to stay and ask him. If young students would like to know how to do illustration, he will be here. He will talk about his experience from college to do illustrations, and he can share some of his experience with you. But with no further information, I would like to introduce Dr. Kou up here. So if you can join me and give Dr. Kou applause while I travel all the way from California to here.
Thank you very much, It might be better for me to briefly introduce me to you from different perspective. So you know why I did a lot of writing. You know why I collected story. And despite poor English, I will continue to do writing. So let me tell you a little bit. I grew up in a very large Hmong, extended Hmong family of 18 people. I'm the oldest son. So in Hmong culture, I'm supposed to carry the ancestral religion practice, leader of the family and the community. But I wasn't so good in talking. Orally, I was not gifted, talented. But I had so many questions. And still like a Hmong kid, well, just whatever they say, they would just do and ask no question. I was a curious boy. Ask question how far is the moon? How big is the star? Ask questions where the spirit of the ancestor, and so on. The war and all of these factors allow my family to send me to school when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I say about because very few Hmong in my time know the birthday. So I went to school. I wasn't good in using any tool, but I love learning. The teacher loved it when I asked question, how far from here to the moon? And so I stayed in school. I love it. All the way study, read poetry, read the oral folk story of the Lao people, read some of the palm leaf about story of Buddha and so on. I was fascinated about those. So I learned to write a little bit here and there, but wasn't very good. There are other positive things that also helped me. A lot of things it's a dream from the childhood. I remember one event my family offered food to the ancestors. The first crop, the Hmong, when they harvest first crop, they will offer to the ancestors, to the spirit of the land, and so on. I was a little kid, running around. My grandmother told me, be nice, don't run around. Grandfather's calling the spirit of an ancestor to come and enjoy the first crop. I look at it and say, look at. I say, Grandma, nobody, only grandfather there. Where are the spirit of ancestor? If she's nice, she's trying to explain to me about, they are spirit, you cannot see them. So I said, so where they come from? Where they used to live? And she talked about, oh, our ancestors come from China, a long time ago. That's the end of discussion. But that's the beginning of my quest to learn about history, to learn about my identity, to learn about our people. And later on, when Han Chinese trader come to the village, my father and grandfather all speak Yunani dialect. So I was curious. I said, wow, now my grandfather and father can speak the language. Maybe I can learn too. And when I went to school, learn about the map, I said, well, China is just close to Laos. So I paid attention to that. And when we became refugee to this country in 1976, I arrived in 76, I began to learn English 1 word per day. I knew a couple words of English. Yes, no, okay, good morning. So I learned 1 word per day. And in 1976, coming in 86, I became the first Hmong American to study in China because that curiosity, I want to learn more about who I am, my people, history, and so on. And I continued to collect. When I was in the refugee camp, nothing to do. I lost everything. So I talked to people about history, about culture, about religion, identity, especially folk story. And I whenever I have free time, I compose poetry, and that kept me alive in the camp because I lost everything. And when I come to this country in 1980, I put some together and do a self-publish. So many of my folk story for children very young like this and to adult. So such as, I told them a little earlier, I did the first Hmong cartoon book. It said, "Mẹ mí mua xua nhiệt tai cứ cái cổ đó mẹ mí nó chỉ ta mẹ mí mua cho đó sầu rễ, cho là bỏ, cho hai tay yang cho li, số là cho số hai tay yang số chu, cho cả là số hùng đủ." That's a word for children. It's just an example for some of this. I also self-published my poem. I probably think about the best title for the poem would be Poetry from Hard Times, or from Difficult Time, because I wrote them in the refugee camp. And some of them maybe the ideas from back home. I am the first Hmong maybe wrote poetry against polygamy, for example. So some of these issues continue today, but we recognize it back in 1970, early 1970, and after become refugee to this country. Now, I mentioned briefly that I spoke in a couple of words of English when I arrived this country. Laos was a French colony, so French was the second language in school when I grew up. I didn't learn English at all. When I arrived in this country, my sponsor helped me to get a dishwashing job. After 2-3 months, I feel like my hands so dry, I touch water every day. Also, the smell of the food, too much for me. If I wash this all day, smell all day, when I go home, I don't want to eat because the smell. So I said, I want to get a good job, something different than dishwasher. But then the second question comes, how? Where? You don't speak the language, you don't have vocational skill, you don't know where to go. So I said to myself, if I can learn one English word per day from my co-dishwasher, I should be able to learn 365 vocabulary per year. That's what I start to learn, and you can sense that I was already in my early 20s. So any language when you learn informally, and especially you learn in your 20, you want to master the language very well. English is my fifth language, and those languages that I learned in my early years, I can speak. If I make mistake, I can easily detect the mistake. In English, if I say tomorrow I go, I may not feel that that's wrong. Yeah, incorrectly, but I will not feel that because I learned at a much older age and not formally. So that's, my point here is to say that I struggle with the language, and that's what I try to write. It's not because I'm good at it. I'm not good at it. And I keep writing and writing. And my other factor that pushed me into writing is, if I begin something, I visit China 12 times, every area that it's Hmong. I visit Hmong in every country except Argentina and Burma. So I said, if I can begin to write something about Hmong history, Hmong culture, Hmong identity, maybe someone in the future will make it better. I remember a Chinese a story that an elder Chinese tried to level a hill. And then the young man passed by and said, "Uncle, you are already old. You may not be able to finish leveling the hill." And the old man said, "Yep, if I started, you and my children will finish it." That's my philosophy. If we start today, even in English as a second language, some of you are going to make it better. And that's my hope, right? So I'm going to briefly read a little bit about this, and I'm going to talk about my other writing as well. If I have time, I'm going to tell you more story. little about Hmong folk story for children. And why I write about Hmong folk story? Because the Hmong have Jungle Book. The Hmong also have story like Cinderella. The Hmong also have story like other story. And if you read my Sayaboury book, we could talk about Prince and the Boys Mountain and Girls Mountain. That's very similar to what's it? Romeo and Juliet, love story. And so that's what I want children to read and say, yeah, we have that too. And I want you to be proud of who you are and continue to make it better. Maybe you can someday, you can help to make the book better than today. And some of my hope. The part of the story, a little boy in New York was raped by a pig mother because all the village and his people died from the disease. So when he grew up, when the mother pig old and might die soon, the mother pig helped him to connect to his uncle, the tiger. And then the tiger helped to raise him so he can grow up to be a human being. So I'm not going to the all the detail, I'm here to read it. But I want to read a little bit about the uncle want New York to get married. And New York say, I want to, but where can I find wife? So the uncle said, the chief's youngest daughter is pretty and should be a good wife. You should go to the festival and then meet her. In New York, I've been trained martial art, have been trained the game and the way of the Hmong. So in page 19 at the bottom, I will start from there. On the first day of the festival, the tiger took New York to the hill, looking down on the town, and told New York to just walk to town and participate in the festival. New York did as told and took part in the game contest. Yeah, that the youngest daughter of the chief found New York to be not only extremely attractive but skillful in the arts of game. She kept watching New York the whole day, and New York realized that he had to return to his uncle before sunset. He told New York to go and get, he told them to go and get him a cup of water. While the ran home to bring New York a cup of water, he took off on the road and disappeared into the jungle. So this is the first day, and he repeated again the second day, and as she be a little wiser, she be more careful, but he still disappeared. The third day, she ran after him and went with him to the cave that New York, his uncle, lived. So I will not go too far, otherwise you may not need to read it. I want you to read the book. To think like a mom, I really want to ask me a question. What is the significance of Hmong Jungle Book? Why tiger? Why New York? Why Hmong always, Hmong folk story always say the orphan become king, the orphan become this, the orphan become that. And any other question about Hmong culture, religion, identity, and some of the folk story. So I wanted to ask me a question rather than let me read the whole book. I just read a little bit to show you that my English pronunciation is still like an ESL. And instead of take that as a negative, sometimes that can help you because you can keep thinking that I need to learn more, I need to practice, and keep learning. And English is my 5th language, so I will not be any better from now, but I can still write. I can do 3-4 times, review, rewrite, and still make mistake, and Marvin knows it. Sometimes make mistake more than one, but we all learn from mistake. But there is always room to improve, to make it better and better. Question for me. Any question about Hmong culture, the significance of the book? Why tiger? Why the? Anyone? Okay.
I would think
Yeah.
of one question. Is this a story from Sayaboury, or is this one spread all over that Hmong in China will have the same story?
This is a Hmong story, not just the Hmong people in Sayaboury. It's a Hmong people, I'm not sure in other countries, but in Laos it's very common. Yeah. But I'm sure they probably in southern China. When you think about Hmong, if you see the term male, basically it, the people lumping under this name male are linguistically divided into 3 groups. The Eastern male speaker, that's referred to the Kou Yang in Hunan. The Central male language speaker is referred to the Mu in Kou Yang, Guizhou. The Western male speaker or the Hmong in Hmong. So only the Hmong found in Laos and Thailand and Burma and other countries in the Western country. So when I use the term Hmong, I refer to the Western male speaker. The male language is like a big family. And you go a little further, then you will see the male Yao language and so on. So I refer to the Hmong who are speaker of the Western male language. Any question? Yeah.
Yeah, can you explain the significance of the tiger?
The tiger?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, in Chinese culture, the mythical animal is a dragon, right? In Laos, it's a serpent. For the Hmong, it's a tiger. And Hmong also have a lot of story about tiger, but they also have someone die and become tiger. Or someone just learn how to use magic and they cannot get out of the tiger's body and they become tiger. The very famous story in the 1960s, 1950s, when I was a little boy in the 60s, still they called Jusha. And the story, it's a 2 brothers. One brother learned the magic how to become tiger so he can kill animal, hunt for food. And when he returned, the other brother supposed to use stick to hit his head so the basket that he put as a tiger will come out, he will become human again. But when he come back to the brother who was supposed to do that, the brother saw a big tiger, he's scared, he run away. So this person, real tiger, become a tiger, cannot change a human being. And he has a lot of power. And if anybody has story, or anybody has a talent, pretty, then he will come and pick up that person to be part of his eye. A pretty girl will become his wife. Someone very skillful on weapon will be part of his military, his troop, and so on. So when I grew up, when people say to me, "You're a very good student," my parents and elders said, no, he's not good, not good, not good. He's a disobeyed boy, he's not. And if someone says, "Oh, that girl is pretty," parents say, no, she's not pretty. She's ugly, because they're afraid of that. And one of my uncle, my father's brother, just the one after him, he had a reputation of being very good to handle the musket. People say he can handle a musket like his own finger. very, very well known. He hunted very well. And he was killed by tiger. And so people say, well, maybe Jusha come and take him to be one of his soldiers. And when I was a little boy, was sent to school, my grandfather had a tiger, and they brought home. The Hmong believed that if you eat tiger's meat, tiger will scare you. They will not harass you. So, I give to all the kids, very few of us can eat tiger's meat because it smells, because it tastes strangely. I did, I was one kid. And when I went to school, they saw tiger's mustache into my shirt. And they believed that because tiger is a very powerful animal, has a lot of power, so with that to protect me to school, other kids would not bully me. Teacher would treat me with respect. And then, I remember another thing. When I got to be about 11 or 12 years old, I returned from school in the summer. My father and I went to trap animal. And my father heard the sound. He knew that's tiger. I didn't know. He just said, let's go. And then when we run, and I heard clearly sounds of tiger. We rushed to the river, and because of the river you can see farther away, and we watched there, but tiger did not follow us. So when we come home, my father told story to the elder, and the elder said, because that little boy, he's a tiger eater. So tiger would have followed you. So that's kind of story in the old time. So tiger, sometimes the monk say, someone died and become tiger. May not be, it's a belief. And my story is always this kind of thing that my family have a story, and I too involved with that. So that's tiger. Anything else? Yes.
I would like to know, is there a Romeo and Juliet story?
In Hmong?
Yeah, in Hmong.
Yes. Let me think about it. I wrote about that story like a Romeo and Juliet in Laos. Hmong also have a lot of story. Laos. Go Juandona, it's one of them. I know a lot of story about this, but pick it out of my mind. Yes, the answer is yes, but I just cannot think about one right now to tell you, but yes, we do have. Any other story? Why Hmong keep having first story about the orphan boy? Why? Because that represents the Hmong. The Hmongs are often a state, the often a country. So it's like an orphan. And it's always give you hope. The orphan boy become king. The orphan boy, when I wrote your book, I wrote that New George Tua, New George Nat Ye Hang, Ning George, Tu George Tua, Tu George Nat Ye Ning. So an orphan does not die. He or she will become a strong human being. So basically, give them a hope that you don't have a state, you don't have country, but there's hope there. And the Hmong have 5,000 year history can be summarized. If someday you go to shipping in China, they put my writing this into the stone tablet. 5,000 year history of the Hmong can be summarized into a few words. Move, force, push and pull to move from north to south, east to west, and from the lowland to the highland of southwest China. As they push and pull, it's not just that they run away there. They've been pushed, and then the Hmong also go to higher to find strategic location to defend themselves. So 5,000 year of history were basically forced migration to move from northern China to central China and east to west, from the lowland into the mountain. And if you read some of my other writing, I say today we have more books authored by Hmong than the last 40 years. We have more books authored by Hmong than the last 4,000 years. Why? You're not going to think about writing a book. You're not going to think about talking philosophy, science, if you only have food for now. You worry about tomorrow. If your child is sick, if you don't have a comfortable shelter. So it's the Maslow hierarchy of need. We're always just on the basic need: clothes, shelter, food. And so why now we talk about idea? We talk about book. We talk about philosophy, science. But all of you go home and you will have a place to sleep. You will have food tomorrow morning. And that's important. But why the king, the question, why the king is so important for Hmong? The king is the repertoire of Hmong culture. If you learn the language of the king, the king is like a Bible. It tells you about Genesis, the creation of the universe. It tells you about the first creation of the two persons. Unlike the Bible, the Hmong talk about the man and woman who create together. So, and the king also represents the Hmong. Wherever there's a Hmong, there's a king. So it's very, very, very important for the Hmong. And even there's a story that during the war, the Hmong have to either take a weapon or take a book, and the Hmong take a weapon, so they lost their reading language. And now the king, when they don't have books for them, they went to the wise man, and 6 brothers went to the wise man said, each of you take one bamboo, put together, and from now on, use that as your book. So when Hmong died, the king guided to the land ancestor. In the king, they not only talk about the Genesis, the creation of the universe, about a story of the Hmong, but they also talk about the king also tell you where to go to the land ancestor. The king guide you to the land ancestor. And it's a beautiful language. So now the question is, if you go to the funeral home, the guiding way and the king was beautifully, but this would not develop in the last 1,000 years, maybe 3,000-4,000 years ago. Because once in the past, Hmong used to live in the lowland, big village or maybe town. That can afford someone to be a professional, do this time after time like a professor until they can master the king well, have this beautiful language. So that's an important. So today we want to learn about Hmong language, want to learn about Hmong culture, pay attention to the king. You have that. Pay attention to the lot of ritual in the funeral when they guide them back to the land ancestor and so on. So king is important. And in here I say the king, the way of the king, the way of the Hmong, because that king is the way of the Hmong. Any other question? What about any little story, children's story? Now, I wrote this in it for another book, but I share with you something that you may like it. It's a loud story. I wrote that. And the name is called Xiang Mian. No, let me change to a Hmong one. Jacques. You all heard the name Jacques, right? One day, the chief and the family would go out of town to attend festival. So the chief told Ja, you stay home, keep this house clean. Don't let any animal come inside the house. If you let any animal come inside the house and they drop anything inside the house, you must eat it. So the chief and the family went to the festival all day. It was boring, stay home, nothing to do. So Jacques took a brown sugar, made this little bit, like a chicken drop here a little bit, like a duck drop over there. And when the chief and family come back, the chief say, Jacques, I told you clearly, and you say you understand very clearly that no animal to the house, no dropping inside the house. Now, all over, you must clean it, eat it. And Jacques pick up them one, take it, oh sweet, so yummy, take that one, so yummy. And then the last one, and the chief said, does you take that good? He said, yes, you want to try it? The chief take one, wow, take so good. Next day, the chief said, the Jacques said, now it's your turn to stay home, chief. I will go out. If I come back home, use the same rule. If I come home and any animal drop in the house, you must eat it and clean. So the chief open the door wide, chicken come in, duck come to the house. When Jacques come home, Jacques said, Chief, look, all over. You must do just I did that yesterday. The chief tasted terrible. He realized that it was tricked by Jacques. He chased Jacques out of the house, out of the village. But the story of Jacques never ends. That continued to another story, then to another story. And this is a comedian story. Allow us to have another story. I still have a little bit time, right? Yeah. So I just compared Hmong and other story. Allow another story, they call it Come Before the Rooster. The name, the loud name for that is Xian Miang, Come Before the Rooster. So Xian Miang was clever, lazy, all of it had no idea. Whatever the chief tell them to do, he always find excuse. So the chief, he always come to the court late. So the chief make a new rule tell everyone in the court said from today on, tomorrow on, everybody must come to the court before the rooster. Everybody here come before the rooster. You just say yes, clear. The next day, everybody show up early. Except Jacques. Jacques come to the court almost noon. And he come and the chief say, Jacques, you say yesterday you heard it clearly that everybody must come before the rooster. And Jacques say, oh, Xian Miang say, yes, chief. I understand that. I come before the rooster. See, the rooster behind me. He tied the rooster, hold the rooster like this. The rooster behind me. I obey your law. I come as you told here, behind him. So that's the story. Hmong have a lot of story, Hmong ancient people, 5,000 year history. So they have a lot of story. The other important thing that I want to share with you is that Hmong use old story to teach value, to teach Hmong religion, to teach Hmong identity, and so on. Sometimes they talk to children about the story and they say, look, if you don't obey your parents, this will happen. If you're a good girl, you will have a husband nice like that. If you're a good boy, you'll become strong, good hunter, and this and that. So, and the way Hmong tell the story is maybe after dinner. They will come around, sit in the fireplace, and grandmother, grandfather will tell the story. One of the story I have that when I was very young, I always remember, it's my family story. It's, I just mentioned earlier, me was your that's when I was little. And then continue on, then more than that.
มีได้กี่ตกนอกตกกู้มีได้ตีมีได้กวดจะเลยปอกไก่หมูกี่ได้นะหาสิจัวจิชงชอบปอกไก่เขาหัวปอกไก่กวดอยู่เลยรัว so it's for little kids get their attention but on hand I have to teach them about be careful don't use fire it can hurt you that's all.
I have a question. Many of our Hmong students don't like to read.
Mommy?
I said many of our Hmong students don't like to read, and I would like to know what kind of doors can reading do to you?
They don't like reading?
No, a lot of Hmong students don't like reading, including myself, and a lot of students I work with don't like reading.
Everybody, when you do reading or do something, you must know what's in it for you. Saying, a lot of Hmong parents say, you must study, you must study, you must do this. And I say, no. Help them to understand what's in it for him, for you, for her. And something that I'm telling them, if you learn to read, to write well, that's going to last the whole lifetime. Little effort, you get this much. If you spend 5 years in college, it's going to be good for 50 years. It's part of my social background that keep telling them what's good for them. Not me. A lot of parents say, you are my son, you must do this for me. No, for you. If you learn to read, learn to write, you will have this skill for the rest of your life. You can write all the story. You're going to, my age is the beginning, and you're going to make it better because you know how to write. So, everybody, all of it, what's in it for me?
Thank you so much, Dr. Kou. Thank you for sharing your story. So the other half of the program was to have the illustrator Yinkong Vue to come up here and share his experiences. Yeah? So Yinkong, would you like to come up the podium and introduce yourself and your experience with doing illustration as well for Dr. Kou, the Hmong Jungle Book?
Hello everyone. So I'm Yinkong Vue. It's hard to follow what Dr. Kou has said. I'm merely an illustrator. So I guess I can kind of start with how I got into illustration and where my love for art comes from. Growing up, it's always been, like when you're a kid, you're at home by yourself. If you're like in a lot of Hmong families, they don't want you to go out. They want you to stay inside, So I just stayed home and drew all the time with my brother. And yeah, ever since then, it's kind of, in a way, helped shape who I am and allowed me to think in creative ways to entertain myself, come up with stories, and to just, figure out ways to express my vision. So that's kind of how I became an artist, I guess. So from there, I guess I drew a lot growing up, and then when it was time for college, I of course tried to make, my parents proud by trying out for a degree that, they always say, go for a doctor, or go for a lawyer, or go for something that would be stable and give you basically a consistent income. But that's not where my heart was. I tried for like a year, and then I just figured out that it wasn't for me. So I took a big step. I decided to apply for an art college. It was expensive. It was, a big risk. But at that point in my life, I had really grown a connection to my Hmong side too. I think earlier on, even when I would draw a lot, it was always just, oh yeah, I liked Disney, I liked cartoons, I didn't, read as much, those kind of things, a lot of typical things that I feel like Hmong students run into. But I think as I got older, I started looking back at like the stories that my grandma would tell me, or, things that we'd see like at the Hmong New Year. And I'd wonder why I didn't see that in, you know, on TV, in cartoons, you know, even seeing like Japanese animations, I would feel like, hey, that stuff's pretty similar to Hmong stuff, and I can see how like that stuff, I can kind of relate to it, but that's not quite me either. Like that's not who I am. And so from there, I think I really felt I guess, a growth and just a commitment to find myself and to put something out there for our people. So with that, I decided to go to art school, and after 4 years of that, I'm working a job. I've found my kind of like my voice in art, and just hopefully being able to create more work, kind of like what Dr. Kou had said, taking the stories that we learned and like heard of as kids and bringing something new to it, creating something new for the new generation. And yeah.
I have a question for you. There are a lot of artists, they do illustration, they do drawing, and they do many different type of tigers. But when you draw, your tiger has special Hmong symbol, and then you can tell that there's a Hmong tiger. What made you come to that kind of idea?
Yeah, well, that makes it a lot easier for me to answer. You're correct. It is derived from the Hmong patterns and designs. So let's say when I heard the story, as an artist, I would take into account, all right, so there's, a tiger can look like anything. And as someone who is, to illustrate that, what can I draw to make Hmong people connect that this is a Hmong tiger? This is someone that, might look like a tiger but has Hmong thoughts, Hmong feelings, Hmong experiences, right? So to me, seeing the tigers having stripes, seeing Hmong patterns on clothing, I figured that this was a way to kind of meld those things, to directly have Hmong patterns on. And yeah, and if you, read the story, there's other tigers, but they look different. And that was done in an intent to really secure that, this Uncle Tiger was specific to, being Hmong and having that identity.
I have a question.
Sure.
Whenever you're doing an art piece of some sort, do you have like a specific process you go through, like religiously, or do you just do it based on the project?
It depends on the project. I can say that for this book, a lot of the hard work was done by Dr. Kou, where as I was reading it, I was able to just envision already with his words what this story entailed. I think as an artist, my job from there is to just heighten it, to add to it, to really create a visual interest and to just help the readers flip the page, to get them curious to see what's happening next. And I think that's, as I went through just like mocking up the pages, I figured, I went through a lot of iterations. Like my first iteration, I was going for something a bit more realistic, less playful. But at some point, as I was reading his story, I thought, I think kids are going to read this, and they would like something more expressive, something more fun, maybe something more light. So I actually decided to go back and redo a lot of the artwork, and that's actually what you have, as the final product, is something that I think is closer to what I would hope people would enjoy and would want to get out of a book like this.
What advice would you have for Hmong youths who are interested in the arts?
Well, I mean, I can see that art is a very, big thing in the youth. And, kids love drawing. I guess my biggest advice would be to, and I know it sounds cliche, but to find your voice in the art. And, I can reflect that onto myself, where, like I said, when I was growing up, I just drew a lot of cartoons and a lot of fun stuff. But I think the passion for it and just, finding your identity in it is very important. And once I had that, I feel like that was something that I could always refer to. And it's something that really drives you in comparison to just, kind of not having a focus. Sure.
So, since you do art as your day job, you also do it, after you come from work, as a personal practice. What are some ways that you, get through roadblocks for when you are uninspired or when you're given a prompt that, is hard to inspire ideas from? Do you just work through it, or do you feel like there are ways that you can sort of recenter yourself and find inspiration?
Yeah, I think it's important to take breaks. I think that's one big thing that I've found to work for me. A lot of art is in your head. You are mentally thinking, you're problem solving, you're thinking, how can I, what's the best way I can depict something? What's the most, efficient way to draw, this character? So for me, balancing that out with work is, it's still a struggle. Like, I don't think it's something that, you can figure out right away, but just kind of letting yourself rest and recuperating, I think, is something that really helps with it.
How can Hmong youth that are interested in pursuing arts explain to your parents that art just as defined as, let's just say, science or math?
Ooh, well, I went through that myself, trying to explain to my parents. And I think one of the ways that I try to explain is that art, no matter if you're an illustrator or an animator, or even sculpting, it's visual, and it's also everywhere. And I think sometimes people forget that, these books, the signs you see, movies, games, someone had to design all that. Someone had to come up with the concept. Someone had to, come up with the idea to make that. And art that's what it is, And there's many avenues to do it too. And I think even today there's more than there ever has been. So I would start with, just kind of letting them know that it's everywhere. And there's a lot of jobs for it.
You have a question? Oh, do you have any current projects you're working on, and do you have any future goals?
So currently, I'm working on just kind of personal projects. Right now, I'm working at this. So I have like a 9-to-5, and I'm working at a casino game company. So I'm part of that art department, and that takes up most of my time. But when I do have like time to myself, I'm trying to work on kind of world building, developing characters, basically Hmong characters that I think is, there's the folk tales that we have, but then I want to add on to it. I want to create new stories, Every generation we're changing, we have different ideas, we have, different experiences. So for me, my personal project is to kind of create characters that reflect our modern society. Anything else?
What is your ultimate goal?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's My ultimate goal would, I mean, it kind of falls along with that, where I would want to be able to create new Hmong characters and kind of like a world for that. So I guess it could be in a variety of mediums. I thought of storytelling, you know, creating comics, animations. I studied animation, but animation is very tough. It takes a long time, and it's something that would need a lot of time and money to do. So I guess for me right now, that would be the dream, would be to create Hmong animation. But for now, I think, you know, starting with creating stories, illustrations, and comics is a good start, you know, and I think the Hmong community is looking for that. Whenever they see like characters and stuff that look like them, they're all excited and they want more.
Any other questions for the illustrator? Oh, thank you so much. Please come up a little bit, and after that, we will have the author and illustrator be here. If you purchase their book, both of them will be here to sign the book for you.
I just want to have an opportunity to say thank you to Dr. Brian Xiong and Marlene. Yeah. They turned my ESL level writing into beautiful book. Without them, this would not be the way it is. As you see now. So I want to say thank you to them. I also want to thank you to the Hmong Archive for providing this opportunity. And my hope is this is at the beginning of many, many more. The giant allowed to say, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step, and this single step to the long, long, long future. Thank you.
Could you hold up the cover of the book so I can get it in the video?
Sure.
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.